brilliant your week then. Buckets.
Hi everyone, it's Rachel here from the Walk the Talk podcast. Welcome to this week's episode. I am laughing because this is one of the funniest interviews that I've done in ages. Actually, this is a recording from an interview that I did with the lovely Tanya and Claire from Wise and Gorgeous earlier on this year. And in this interview, we cover loads of things, but the sort of general theme is we talk about sabotage, and that is both self-sabotage when it comes to eating well, and also the types of sabotage that you might come across from people like friends and family when it comes to sticking to a diet or sticking to healthy eating. We have a bit of banter, a bit of a chin wag and a bit of a moan about this topic. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you my very good friends Tanya and Claire from an awesome coaching company called Wise and Gorgeous. Enjoy the interview, and I'll be back at the end with some more details about where you can find out more about the girls themselves. All right, enjoy. Speak to you soon.
Good morning.
Morning, Rachel.
Morning. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
And we've all got our heads together on this rather chilly. Rachel's still got her hat on. Morning.
Because she lives in Scotland.
She lives in Scotland. To talk about sabotage. We all work with women and their journeys that they're trying to make with their food and their bodies and their minds, and sabotage comes up quite a lot.
So what is it? Sabotage. What does it mean in terms of women getting into shape? How do we define it? What are these sabotage? What are these ways to sabotage? Look at the dictionary's definition. It's I'll tell you what it says: a coordinated campaign of wrecking, damage, vandalism, destruction, obstruction, or disruption.
Yeah,
it's stronger than real life, isn't it? I think there's more shades of grey in all of that.
Yeah, it can be more.
Sometimes it is deliberate, though.
I think it is always deliberate, but sometimes it's more unconscious. People don't realise consciously that they're doing it. Like, when you are on you're making some changes with your food and you're on a healthy eating way of changing things, and the other half comes home with your favourite pizza. Surprise, I've got you a present, here's a lovely big fat pizza. And you're like, so it comes across as well-meaning and kind of present-like, and here I've bought you a treat because I know you like this. And maybe the other half would be kind of devastated if you said, you're deliberately wrecking my plans, you're doing this on purpose to make me feel bad. I don't think they'd get that. I think they'd look a little bit crestfallen if you accused them of deliberately sabotaging. But
does that make sense? Is that the ladies that you speak to, is that the kind of things that you're hearing from them?
Yeah, definitely. I had a lady this morning that spoke to me about her workplace. It's very commonplace for for her work colleagues to just eat things like boxes of chocolates before breakfast, and that's the done thing. And if you
in the staff room
do it, then you're made to feel a little bit like, I don't know, you're made to feel like you're some sort of, I don't know, weirdo or something.
Yeah, totally.
Why do you not want to eat chocolate for breakfast?
We wanted to talk about actually self-sabotage. We'll move on to that, but I think we're straight into other people sabotaging you. So so the staff room, go on, that one, no, totally. I tell you who have this really badly. I don't know if you found this. Teachers and nurses. Do you hear that? I feel so sorry for teachers, because I work in school sometimes and I go in the staff room. It is like Thornton's in there. It's because
staff room's a big one.
Do such an amazing job. Do you hear that?
All the time. Like, I actually have quite a lot of clients who are teachers, loads actually. And that is one of the biggest things that I hear, is that the teacher staff room is just like a minefield of not only all sorts of like sweets and chocolates and cakes and all that kind of thing, but also at like a diet minefield as well. Like everyone's always on a different diet and everyone's diet's better than everyone else's, and it's like, let's see who's going to cave into the temptation first.
So there's competitiveness in that as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what about, do you think, you touched on it briefly, the cold shoulder from people? Because when you're doing something, so maybe one of your clients is making some progress and they go, well, what's going on? You've got personal training. What's this? How are you eating differently? Because these other people are maybe not making those inroads that your client would do. That obviously makes them look at themselves. And maybe they've been maybe talking about them behind their back, or a bit of gossiping. Who does she think she is? Have you ever heard anything like that? Is that something that comes up?
Oh yeah.
Is that extreme?
No, not at all. It's very common. Yeah. And mostly in workplaces rather than at home. I think a lot of the time there's a bit of jealousy in there as well. At points, it's like they want to know what you're doing, but they also want to know what you're doing so that they can say that that's not the right thing to be doing. Or well, we were trying to structure how we spoke to you. We thought we'd go later and talk about how the motivations behind it, but no, straight into it. So there's a lot of that, especially in workplaces. Like just from me in the past, from like I used to work in a gym actually, and the amount of temptation, believe it or not, in the staff room of the gym, the gym staff was unbelievable. And I used to be on the other side. I used to feel my body full of crap, even when I was a gym instructor. And sometimes we'd walk in and like one of the other gym instructors maybe like heating up something in the microwave. I think there was one day it was like, must have been tuna or something, because the whole place was stinking. And I was on the other side of it at that point, and I was like, oh, what are you eating? Like, that is disgusting. So I can remember being on the other side of that, sitting eating my bowl of crunchy nut cornflakes going, oh, he's eating tuna. Like, why are you doing that? So,
do you ever hear, this is something that came up, but back in that staff room where somebody's losing some weight and everybody else is getting a bit miffed because they are, do you ever get the comments, oh, but you'll waste away, oh, don't take it too far, don't get too
yeah, because it's okay to comment on thin people, isn't it? It's not okay to say, oh, look at you've got a bit fat. But it is okay to say, oh my God, look at you look really skinny. People feel that there's a little bit of permission to talk about.
Yeah.
And a little bit of skinny shaming, if you like, is kind of okay.
Well, she looked better with a bit more weight on her face. And that's just rude, isn't it?
The big one I get all the time with my clients is, don't get too thin. Oh, don't get too thin.
Yeah.
Oh,
but nobody would ever dream of saying, oh yeah, but don't get too fat, because that's not nice, because there's
people's mothers apparently.
Or you look fine just the way you are.
Yeah. Don't make me have to change. Like that.
But so we were thinking about kind of, we've covered kind of that other people are, potential saboteurs. They can make comments, they can put things in front of you, they can even bring you gifts kind of in the guise of kind of being nice. And I guess it's kind of thinking about what we ought to crack on with when people sabotage their self, which I think is an even more complex and much, much harder to kind of put your finger on sometimes, maybe until you've done it.
Yeah.
But particularly when it's your other half or somebody that you're living with, when you change a habit, maybe you're starting to have a different dinner perhaps to them, or, pizza night on a Friday turns into, for you, a halloumi salad, that kind of thing. It changes things, it changes the dynamic of things, it changes the relationship that you have, the kind of habits that you have. We'll talk a lot more about habits because they're really crucial. Changing habits is really hard.
That's what you do for a living, isn't it? You change people's habits.
And it's a really hard thing to do. And then when you change somebody else's habit for them, there can be a little bit of annoyance, I think, that it's like, well, where's Friday night pizza gone? It's like that's kind of what we do, and that's kind of quite simplistic. I just want what we had back. I don't want anything to be any different.
Does that make sense? Have you found that husbands have been doing that, has been saying, approaching it like that? Yeah, it's all right for you to change, but I don't want to change anything. Maybe husbands, wives, but partners, those staff room people.
Yeah, there seems to be two extremes and not much greyness in the middle. Either my clients have partners who are like super duper supportive and just say like, I'll do this with you, like whatever you're doing, I'll do this with you, which is great. And there are quite a lot of them out there. So yay, good for you guys. And then there's the complete extreme opposite, where I have a client that comes to me each week and maybe says like, I want to do this so much, but I'm finding it so difficult because I'm getting so much stick at home, or I'm having to make 4 different dinners, or I'm sitting down to eat mine and everyone else is like, I'm not eating that, or being, you know, there's 2 extremes. There doesn't seem to be much in the middle, where, you know, maybe the husband or wife or partner, whoever, you know, chips in, makes their own food kind of thing. It's like, I'm not eating that.
We in our course that we run, our 6-month course, we find that the people that make, and we do talk to people about their other halves, which they're not expecting. The people that do have their other halves on board and their children, are the ones that succeed. The ones that don't are fighting. They have done, but they have to climb a much steeper hill, because they've got to get there without that support. It's like without their ropes, they have to get there on their own.
But it's about talking, I think, too. It's about talking to people and being really honest about it. And that's what we've encouraged people to do, which is, well, why don't you sit down and have a conversation? Well, you know, why is it that you're not able to kind of be on board with that and kind of name it? Because I think there is a degree of insecurity when it's your other half, like you say, wife, partner, those kinds of things, where if this person makes lots of changes, what does that mean? And I think it's that unspoken thing. And I don't think they'd even want to say out loud, yeah, but you might go off with someone else. Yeah. What if you get all lovely and I'm not, and I'm still doing what I did before?
Or have you got someone else? Is that why you're getting into shape? It's because you've met someone down the gym. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And one husband, person on here is like, but why are you, particularly when we invite people into groups and they're sharing stuff with other members of the community, why are you talking to those people over there and you're not talking to me? Why don't you want to talk to me about this kind of stuff? So it comes out with these passive aggressive, or even downright aggressive, I don't know what the bloody hell you do. But I think it's naming it and talking about it, getting it out into the open, that I think is a really useful thing. And being committed to, because it takes a long time to perhaps get people on board. And this lady that we talk about quite a bit in these, her other half came home the other day, sort of, I've bought you this, and it was a vegetarian cook magazine with vegan recipes in.
So lovely.
And the week before he'd been, and he's like, well, you can have your bloody whatever stir fry, I'm going to have a Greggs.
And bloody rabbit food.
And then it's like, I quite fancy some home cooked ham and a salad. Shall we have that? And it was over time. So being committed to what you're doing and sort of sticking with it,
not beating them over their head with your vegan cookbook, but introduce. That's what we do. We get people to introduce food that looks like the stuff that you used to have, but maybe it's got that main crappy ingredient taken out, and just bring them around gently.
Yeah, I think you made a great point when you said about sort of having a chat with the people that are going to be around about you. Like when you start something, that's one of the big things that whenever a new client starts with me, it's like part of their screening process is going through all the people that they come into contact with on a daily basis. And I think a lot of the time, sabotage from people that are close to you comes from a sort of lack of understanding on their part as to what exactly it is that you're trying to achieve.
And why. Yeah.
So actually, like, speaking to people and setting expectations and sort of boundaries and things when it comes to these things is really important when you start something new.
Do you know what? That's brilliant, because
5-minute conversation.
A lot of us expect people to be telepathic, don't they? We're doing all this learning and reading and listening, and then your other half doesn't get it. Well, how would they if you don't tell them?
Yeah, and sometimes it's just as simple as saying to the people at your work, listen, I know this might be a bit weird, but like I'd really appreciate it if you didn't. If you guys are having Cake Friday or whatever it is, we used to have Cake Friday in the gym. Then
so if people knew what actually went on behind the scenes.
Unbelievable.
Fitness instructor conferences, everyone having a fag out the back.
That's the worst ever. I'm just saying something like, I'd appreciate if you just don't offer me one, because it makes it really difficult for me when I'm trying to follow a specific protocol, or saying to your partner, listen, feel free to have a few beers on a Saturday night, but please don't offer me one.
Yeah, totally. I suppose if they thought of it the way, if somebody's trying to give up cigarettes, how how supportive usually people are around them. Right? Okay, so I'm smoking, but I'll go out, I'll wash my hands, I won't smell of it. They do it then when you're trying to break that habit. But food, we don't feel food is going to kill us, even though we know that isn't the case. It can make us terribly ill. People don't seem to look at it with the same sort of importance. Yeah. Right, so that's other people. I think we've got that down. So insecurity, the fact that people don't want to change themselves, competitiveness in the staff room, all that kind of thing. And essentially holding a mirror up to other people, saying, well, what are you doing? That's what our changes does. But what about the self-sabotage, which is possibly the greater problem?
Yeah, definitely.
We were brainstorming a little bit the different types or different attitudes of self-sabotage. So we came up with 4. You've probably got a million more, and we wanted to know if you've experienced any of these. So there's people that, if this makes sense, they're used to failure. People who've done Slimming World, or you have Scottish Slimmers, don't you? 10 times they start, they lose a bit of weight, they stop, they put more weight on, and rinse and repeat. They're used to that. They're used to failing. They're used to trying and failing. They'll almost start a new regime expecting at some point soon to fail. The uncertainty of the idea of succeeding is so unusual. They understand failure. They're used to that. That actually speaking to a woman who said, if I fail, then I know what I'm doing. I've done that before. Does that sound madness? Does that make sense to you?
No, it does. It does sound a bit mental, but it's so true. Like, it happens all the time. It's like they're almost setting out to fail. Like they've never experienced what it's like to eat in a way or to train in a way where there's no real end in sight. It's just this.
That's the one. That's the one. Not racing towards a goal. There isn't a goal.
Every day you wake up is like, what am I going to do today, rather than what am I, how long have I got until I screw that up, kind of thing.
Until I can drink a bottle of wine and eat this entire bar of Galaxy I've been saving for when I fail. So that could, okay, good. I'm glad that made sense, because writing it down, we knew people that do it, but it did sound barking, but it's true. Habits. Just not being able to stick to habits. I think if there's number one thing people say is, I would love to do your thing, but I've got no willpower, so it's probably no point.
Right, yeah. I'm not sure where that sort of mindset comes from, or if it's just that they don't think they are worth the risk or worth the...
Habits is something, when you do something over and over and over and over and over again, so if every night at 8 o'clock you eat a packet of Kit Kats, you don't even have to think about it, because your brain wires itself in such a way that when 8 o'clock comes, like sort of Pavlov's dog experiment, your unconscious brain is like, Kit Kat time. So when you stop doing it and you're like, well, I'm not, because I'm going to be doing this kind of different way of doing things. 8 o'clock comes, the bell goes off in your head again, and you're looking for this thing, and it creates a kind of an uncomfortable feeling, because you're kind of restless.
It's a loss.
I'm looking for my
something's taken away, isn't it?
Particularly chocolate, which does kind of work quite, and alcohol, which has an effect on the brain. It makes you feel different, so you can change your feelings with some of the things that we use habitually that are perhaps not all that healthy. So just simply, it's just easier to eat the Kit Kats.
It's easier to do your old habit. Totally.
Because you're trying to do something different, and you don't have a pathway in your brain for it. You have a Kit Kat pathway or a bottle of red wine pathway. And it's just, we talk about this when we're doing mindfulness stuff with people. If you go for a walk through the woods and you decide to walk down the bit where they've put some gravel and a nice path, that's easy. You can do that bit without actually even thinking about it. If you want to go somewhere different and you've got to stomp through the brambles, like your dog probably does, it doesn't go the way everyone else goes. It just goes legging it off through the bracken. That's much harder. So you've got to kind of deliberately
keep going that way until it's all flattened down.
What you've got to do is carve out a new path, and that takes some effort. And if you're not paying attention when you go for your walk and you forget where your new path is, you're just like you do when you drive somewhere and you just get in the car and you get there and think, shit, how did I get here? Because you've just unconsciously done it. So habits, they're just easy. So you can sit there half an hour later at 8:30 going, oh, the Kit Kats, I've just eaten them again.
I just fell and ate another Kit Kat.
So it's not even a deliberate sabotage. That's just I wasn't concentrating and I just necked a bottle of wine by accident, which sounds ridiculous, but it's really easy to do.
I think, like, with those kind of things, what I often do with new clients that are rather than, I think with habits, a lot of people try to change them all at once rather than one. And then when I work with my clients, initially I don't take away the habit, I change it to something similar.
Yeah.
So, like, rather than, you can still eat at 8 o'clock, but let's swap the 2 Kit Kats for one.
Yeah.
Let's just like swap it to one little thing and then stick the other one in the bin or whatever. And then cut it out completely, or change the type of food. Or a lot of the time for my clients, I think this might be quite a Scottish thing. A lot of people come to me that are drinking a lot of fizzy drinks.
Oh no, I think that's everyone.
Not everywhere, yeah.
That is everyone.
So, and I just get them to swap the fizzy drinks for like fizzy water.
We just don't have iron brew.
So no, gutted.
No, I love iron brew. Actually. I've had it for about 15 years.
Oh, really? I've got like 10 cans in the fridge. I have one every day. It's one of my habits.
Yeah. So control freak, habitual. So it's different attitudes of self-sabotage. So I think with just to finish that thought, the people that say they have no willpower maybe are just the people who haven't pushed past that uncomfortable bit.
Yeah.
Because then it gets easier.
Yeah.
But that uncomfortable bit where you're changing the habit, I don't want to change. Okay, I've got a new habit. That's the tough step. Anyway, thrill seeking. So they do well all week. I've eaten brilliantly all week. Then buckets. Yeah. I'm going to have that, and you can go to hell, all of you, because I'm going to have it because I deserve it.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
Yes, and that also goes hand in hand with I've been at the gym today, so
that is true. I have earned the right to sabotage my entire nutritional plan.
That used to be me. That was me.
Makes sense though.
Yeah, I was that person.
Because you get those endorphins and you're feeling great, you're feeling strong, and then you think, well, I've surely earned the right to this.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, it depends what people's goals are. Like, if that's what they want to do, and their goal is not to lose weight, it's just maybe like stay the same, maintain, or having that attitude, Monday to Friday attitude, will work for you. But if your goal is fat loss or health, or that's not going to work.
I think most people looking at the statistics are looking to shed a bit of excess fat, not weight, because it could be that you're lean and you've got plenty of muscle and that you are 11 stone of great physique. But statistically in our country, and a lot of the ladies that you work with and a lot of the ladies that we work with call a spade, they want to lose some of the extra weight that they don't want, really. Yeah. They just don't want to have. It's not they should, it's not that they're fat, using an emotive term, but they would like to maybe be the dress size they were before they had the children or something like that, for comfort and for health. And I'm all for that. But
what do you think is the solution to that then, the Monday to Friday buckets?
I think it's just being aware, because I think some people have a more hedonistic streak than others. Some people who just like, I'm just, I can drink all of that and I can eat all of that, because it's enjoyable. People do it because it lights up pleasure centers in their head. It's not rocket science, is it? People enjoy doing that stuff because for the time when they're doing it. Particularly, we put a thing, what's your guilty food thing, wasn't it? And a lot of people said it's the wine and chocolate. People eat those things not as a punishment. They do it because drinking alcohol changes their emotional state. It makes them feel, if they've had a busy week, for the maybe not till the hangover kicks in, but for that time when they're drinking the wine, it feels nice when you are sitting there with a great big box of chocolates. In sort of psychology, they use the analogy with food that food is love. So if you're bestowing food upon yourself, and it's the finest of foods, and we have a propensity to eat things that are high fat, high sugar, that's in our kind of primordial makeup to be attracted to that kind of stuff, then it's kind of logical that that's going to feel nice. And just being really, really aware of it, being really, really aware of what your goals are and why they are, because you are going to have to come up against that kind of, well, it's nice to do some of those things.
In practical terms, though, I think we made a webinar, and we were looking at the structure of a webinar, and you get to the point in a webinar where you're supposed to say, well, here's my story of when I lost 8 stone, so that's how I can help you. Well, we haven't. I would have said before, we don't have that story, we're just all right, which isn't very powerful, is it? But the truth is, when I was I've got sort of boobies now, and
you show them off again.
I won't get them out, but I was smaller than this. I'm kind of happier with the way I look now, but I have been smaller and very six-packy and very sort of muscular. At that time, I was drinking probably 4 or 5 cans of Coke a day, not even joking, full sugar Coke. I never watched what I ate at all, but I was exercising like a maniac, so I could get away with it. And looking back, wildly unhealthy. I don't know why I wasn't ill. I should have been ill from that. I was like really lucky, and that wouldn't have sustained at all. So I get it, and I grew up, I've even written a couple of blogs on this, I grew up drinking Coke instead of milk. I literally as sweet a tooth as you could possibly have. We know how dangerous that is for you now, and if I can do it, then it is perfectly possible. Added to the fact I'm hedonistic, I won't be told what to do. I literally recognise no authority at all, and I think I know better than everyone else, right? Yeah. And all those things. All of that's true, isn't it? I've been exaggerating that. You can wean yourself off the sugar. You have to, because it will kill you. It really will kill you in the end. There's so many diseases as you get a little bit older. So now it's in 30s and 40s, we're all a bit flippant, and we're going to last forever. But actually, friends that are a little bit older than me, they're starting to get these things happen.
Oh, yeah.
In Scotland, there's a terrible problem. It's not much different here, but you're kind of topping lots of charts of diabetes and heart disease and all the things that we didn't realise were attributed to sugar when we were all on the Red Bull and all the other stuff. But literally weaning them off. I don't like sugary things. I don't like chocolate. I don't eat it because I know, but that's the key. The key isn't to deny. No, because you're pushing again, especially if you're like me and you just think, I'll do what I want, actually.
That's it, isn't it? If a diet is telling you what you should do, that's that bucket streak. Yeah. Comes in, I shall have what I like, thank you very much.
So it's weaning yourself off. And it might take you, I don't know, 4 months. I find that any change, and you said brilliantly, that's how you do it. You say, like, go down from the 2-bar Kit Kat to the 1-bar Kit Kat. In your tea, we even start our 6-month course, which is you have 4 cups of tea a day with 2 sugars in it. Have 1.5. Have one. If you do it gradually enough, your taste change. It's like when we were little, we all drank full fat milk, didn't we? Mm. And now it tastes like drinking melted butter, doesn't it? Because that's what I didn't believe could happen.
Like, you got me on skimmed milk, which I thought was just milk with water in it for a long time.
Yeah, I know. You can change your taste buds, and I know because I've done it. Yeah. And that's, if you can do that, you never have to go on a diet anymore. You never have to think, I really, really want the Haagen-Dazs, because you don't want it anymore. Yeah. Mindfulness has played a massive, massive, massive part in that, as well as the practical stuff.
Yeah.
That was a rant. That went off on one.
Like a good rant.
We're good at that. And this one last attitude that we kind of put.
Yeah, and Rachel alluded to it earlier, actually.
Yeah, which is the poor me. That kind of deep down, those low self-esteem people that really just don't believe that they are entitled to be happy.
Let's be honest about that. These low self-esteem people, that's all of us. That's everybody.
Pretty much.
Even if you don't, to a degree, even if you don't quite realise it, everybody doesn't quite think they deserve the best. Most women in particular treat their family, treat their children and their dog in higher regard than they treat themselves. They look after everyone else. They make sure everybody else has exactly what they need. Babies, little children, we're concerned about their nutrition, whether they've had too much TV, whether they've had some fresh air, whether they've gone to bed early enough. We don't do that for ourselves. We look after everybody else and then think, what's left for me? And then if you've got to put a healthy eating regime on top of that, when you're knackered, when you've looked after everyone else, you can see why it fails.
Oh yeah. And the way that a lot of women I find that they can find time for themselves, but they almost grudge it because they feel like they're being too selfish. I should be, maybe I've got a spare half hour, okay, I'm going to make some food for the rest of the week, and then they think, well, actually, I should be doing the washing, I should be doing this, I should be, and then before they know it, they're like, they've not done what they wanted to do for themselves, or like they'll substitute their hour, that they have in the evening to go for a walk or to go to the gym, and then there's this niggling thing at the back of their mind, well, actually, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. So that's a bit of sabotage as well, self-sabotage, because they're not prioritising themselves. But that's quite a difficult one to get your head around. I think that if you don't prioritise yourself at some point, then everything else is going to fall by the wayside eventually anyway, because you're going to be knackered. And
it's exactly that word, isn't it? Selfish. It comes with, nobody uses the word selfish with a positive connotation. It's assumed that being selfish is a negative thing, doing things for self. I think it's something, and I think there is obviously, spectrums of these things. There's obviously some, good guys, and I think, but generally speaking, like we said, I think women find that harder to do. I don't think blokes do. We had in general, yeah, that's not always the case. A chap who, wants to go out and do his hobby at the weekend. Sun comes out. Well, love, I'm off out to do my hobby. It's the weekend. And she's there going, but there's already
And we said to her,
what?
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
You go and do things too. And he's looking after he's worked all week and he wants to be happy and he wants to do that. Why shouldn't he? Absolutely.
But he didn't think twice.
No, he didn't think twice. But she's got to understand that she shouldn't think twice either.
No.
I mean, of course, you don't just leave the children unattended and both run off.
But it's not about both staying home doing ironing. It's about both going out.
Exactly.
Not doing the
ironing. And doing things together and doing things separately. But nobody's more important.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to setting expectations from the outset. With these things, and I think it does, like when it comes to partners or workmates or people that you come into contact with on a daily basis, if you don't set expectations right from the beginning, how can you expect these other people to know what it is you're trying to achieve? Like it could be the case of 1 5-minute conversation. Like, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. Here's my 3 opportunities. Are you okay to look after the kids on this day? Or, can we organise a babysitter on this night? Or like saying to workmates, look, no cake Friday for me. Feel free to bring them in. I don't want you to offer them. Here's why. And something.
You are so right on that. And not well. Let's see, as we've done sweeping generalisations.
Something not though.
Really unfair. Men, from our vast experience, all the women with their husbands own, men do like this. Right. I would like to have a conversation at 8 o'clock, and I would like to talk about this. And men respond very well in our experience to that. She would like to have a chat at that time, and she would like to talk about that. Brilliant. Tick. Right, I'm going to do that. Get to that conversation. Very clear. Women, they might get as far as that, but a lot of the time, it all goes tits up because they go, I feel like this and I feel like that. And wild emotion. No emotion. You get to that meeting with a man that you schedule. Brilliant. Well done. Tick. With facts. With hard facts. Not, I hate it and I feel awful because I'm never and I can't do this and you make me feel like, no, I would like, as you said, I would like to do that at 8 o'clock. It's important to me because of that. Can we make that work? And more often than not, they'll go, yeah, all right, yeah. Rather than this seething woman that he doesn't know why she's so cross because he's not an empath. He can't work out just from her eyebrows what's wrong. She has to actually articulate. I think women can help men. Help them and help them really. Yeah.
And also I think just on a really, really basic way of, because the self-sabotage thing, those staff rooms full of cakes and biscuits, teachers, nurses, we talked about, fitness instructors, all of those are exceedingly busy people. The way that you can sabotage yourself the most is by not having planned. So that when you're in the staff room and you've worked for 4 hours and you've not had a break and you've not brought any packed lunch with you, and there's a slice of cake and your blood sugars have plummeted, your body's going to need and want it, and you are just going to have to, you're going to find it very difficult not to stuff a piece of cake in. But if you brought in with you stuff, it may even be that you contribute to Cake Friday with something, look up a recipe that is kind of in keeping with the new way of doing things, and share it with people so that you can join in, so that you're not being different in the corner eating some celery.
There's probably 5 or 6 people would go, oh, thank God for that. There's something that's not good. Nobody really wants to eat it. They're eating bloody, lovely, bloody cake.
But those things where we post and some people are looking, oh God, where you've done, and Rachel, you're a queen of doing it, is those meal prep days.
Yeah,
here I am.
At that.
I've made all my meals for the week. Because you're going to have those thoughts of, you have your lovely post in your group on Fuck It Friday, and there's going to be cake in the staff room and you're going to be hungry, and there's going to be a late night where you come in and
nurses traipsing up and down wards for 12 hours with literally not more than 5 minutes to grab something to eat.
So have 100 little tiny pots like this with lots and loads of little snacks so that you can do that, because you're not going to get an hour and a half lunch break to sit and be all splendid. So know that sabotage kind of happens for everybody, and be really conscious of what yours are. If any of those kind of things have kind of hit home and that feels like you, and come up with some action, some things where you can limit the damage, head it off at the pass, be in control to an extent, which is usually what we tell people.
And examine what is going on with you. Like, even often with loads of the things that we cover, we say, you've got this stuff going on in your head, you've kind of got an inkling what it is. Get it out of your head, write it down, look at it. I feel like that. I always go and grab the Costa and caramel waffle at 10 o'clock. Why do I do that? What else could I do? But to get it onto paper makes it somehow more deal withable, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And to understand, where your triggers are, like if there's any like types of like times of day or types of foods.
Yeah. Be really conscious of what it is that you do, and then come up with actions. That's the way to make some change.
Well, I think you need to go. You've given us way more time than we agreed. So sorry about that.
5 minutes.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
I've got one more thing I wanted to ask you about.
Oh, go for it.
On this subject, and that is,
I was just feeling guilty because I thought you had to go. No, I can stay all day.
I just have this one thing that I wanted to get your opinion on, and I think this is maybe like the very extreme end of, you've tried all these strategies, you still feel like other people are sabotaging.
Right.
Would you say that it is then, you're then at a point where you have to start considering the people that you actually spend your time with?
Yeah.
Because I find that a lot of women that I work with, and I only work with women, get so far down the line and then they realise that they have turned into completely different people, and perhaps like partners or best friends, and this is me talking from personal experience as well. You get to a point where you actually have to start considering like the people that you have, like if it's getting to a point where you've tried everything and you actually feel like you're at a point where maybe you have to consider like removing.
You just don't want to say it. Look how hard it is.
No, we've had this within the project we run. It's 6 months, and we work with people for kind of longer than that. And we've sat there sometimes, and we've been messaging with people and gone, we're gonna be hounded out of the village because they're all gonna get divorced.
Yeah.
No one has. They're all
gonna say, "Oh my God, that's you," and you're sitting there, and sometimes in the stuff that people are coming, and you're thinking, what a twit, but obviously these people are so unhelpful and no. But actually, to date, none of them have. Lots of them have made massive and significant changes in their relationships and done some of those things that we talked about earlier. They've had those really, really honest kind of conversations.
Yeah.
Some of them have just accepted things the way that they are and said, actually, do you know what? There's some massive imperfections here, but there's also there's a huge amount of good. So you have to kind of weigh up what you're going to lose versus what you get to gain, which again is a very logical approach to something that's quite emotional. But I would say at some point there are, I wrote something, it was pick your team.
So, you know, choose your team around you. Should some of the people not be in your team anymore? They're very simplistic. Are there people that you love that are really helpful that you don't make enough time for? Should you see more of them? Should everybody shuffle around? But now that's all very well when, I don't know, when you're 20 or you're at college or in a workplace, you're not married. If you're married and you've got children and you've got an unhelpful partner, say, that's big shit, isn't it? To say, well, I've got these goals for my body, for my mind, for my life, whatever it is. This other person isn't in line with them. What do you do? The brutal, I mean, everything out, honesty is the hardest thing. People struggle on for 15 years. I'm thinking of a woman who actually has done this. She's had all the conversations, and I'd hate to say this, she's decided they probably should divorce, but she doesn't want to lose the trappings of her big house. She doesn't want to live in a smaller house. She doesn't want to disrupt, they are adult children, but she doesn't want to disrupt the family home. She doesn't see why she should have to suffer hardship at that time.
Yeah.
And when hearing it laid bare like that, which is right, the honesty of that made me go, and then you think about it, do you know what?
Yeah.
That's what she's decided. It's totally and utterly priorities, isn't it? If your family is first and you've tried everything else, but you still want your family over and above everything else, surely that's laudable. Surely that's a great thing. You don't get married in order to just throw it away when things don't suit you. So absolutely that. On the other hand, you only get one life. So should you live it being unhappy if nothing can change? Yeah. Should you do? Is there even a should in that? Could you even use the word should? So perhaps it is just a fact of choosing your priorities. What means more to you than anything else? Is it your family? Is it your body? Is it your goals? It's just deciding what that is, really. I think most people can move, can shift. I can't imagine somebody's going to fold their arms and say, well, no, I'm having my Friday night pizza, so you can move out. I can't see that after 15 years.
Definitely not.
If they do, maybe that's told you something.
Yeah, there you go.
What do you think, Rachel?
I'm just speaking from personal experience, seeing a lot of change and shift in people's relationships that I work with, and I totally agree with everything that you've said there. I'm quite a different character, right enough. Like I'm not married, I don't have kids, but I will not, and I've moved around a lot in my life, but I will not stick with friends, family, workmates, doesn't matter who it is, if they do not make me feel more driven to get to where I want to be, then I will. It doesn't mean to say that you can't be my friend anymore.
Yeah.
Of course I can be my friend, but I'll pick and choose like how much time I spend around certain types of people.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like for the type of goals that I have at the moment, when it comes to like performance and strength and performance, if I don't surround myself with other people that are also going for, similar goals, and I surround myself with, friends or family who don't train, who don't understand why I would want to train, then that's going to make me not want to train as much.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean to say that they can't be my friends and family. It just means that I have to sort of limit my time there. And it's not forever, but it's like I say that to my clients as well. Like you have to sort of, if you have friends that are maybe out on the piss. I have a client actually who would go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and sometimes text me saying, oh, I was going to drive tonight, but such and such has decided that we're just going to get a taxi. So what would be the best thing for me to drink? And I'd say, well, is it necessity that if just driving that you need to drink? And it didn't even enter their heads. Like it was like we're
going drinking.
Their friends drink, I drink.
And you could have water.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa. Actually, so I can. Like I would.
Nobody told me I could have water instead of vodka. If that's the same, I didn't realise.
You're in that environment where you have friends that drink every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and find it strange that you don't. Then is it maybe time you know, that you maybe didn't spend as much time with those friends, or, you know, especially if they're not at it. I'm speaking of one client in particular, actually, whose friends are just not supportive at all, and it's just like, you don't drink alcohol, then you are weird.
Yeah, you're dead to me, teetotaler. Clearly,
but actually,
I think it's with the devil.
If you go out with a load of people that are, like you said, it's 15 Jaeger bombs, couple of pints, 4 bottles of white wine.
Jaeger bombs.
Yeah,
so you get me. Yeah.
Actually, if you then go out and you don't, because actually you can go out, you can spend time with these people, you can not drink. I'm not sure how much fun it is to sit in a room full of, you know.
Shall I tell you? Not fun.
No. Real pitched up gits when you're sober, and they're, you know, like running about with cones on their heads, and
I don't mind a cone on my head. I'll join in with that. Sober.
So I think those kind of things, naturally, it isn't going to be the same. If you're making some changes, it does change those dynamics. You probably naturally want to spend kind of less time with those people.
Yeah.
If you're sober in a room full of incredibly drunk, shot drinking Friday night people,
then, you know, I hate the internet and motivational quote business, but was it a reason, a season, and a lifetime? The people that come into your life. So you meet somebody for a reason. The season thing, I think, is very true, and people are frightened of moving on from friends because it's like in school. Well, we've broken up as friends. Well, you don't have to. You can move along, and you can just, as you say, spend less time with people without it being histrionics and all of that kind of thing. And then there's friends that you'll see and be friends with whether or not they're doing the same stuff as you, because they love you enough that they don't care. They won't brandish a ghetto in front of your face. You'll just meet up and take up as you were from where you were before. Yeah, I think we've got to go. I think the cat's trying to get in, and that could be a worry. Brilliant. Thank you again, Rachel. Fabulous. We'll catch up soon. We should talk. We should meet up once a month like this, chew the fat, and put the world to rights every month on a different subject. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Okay, so we say goodbye now.
Yeah.
See you soon. Bye.
So thank you again to the wonderful Tanya and Claire from Wise and Gorgeous for such an awesome chat. I smile a lot when I talk about these girls because they inspire me a lot, and you really, really need to check out what they do. Their website is www.wiseandgorgeous.com. I highly suggest that you go load your Chrome browser right now, or your Safari browser, whatever you use, type in wiseandgorgeous.com and go and check out what these girls do. Please go and do that now. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I trust you have. Please let me know by going onto iTunes and leaving me a 5-star review. If for any reason you don't want to leave a 5-star review, please get in touch and let me know why. Please don't leave a 1-star review. Please let me have the chance to rectify this for you. So go ahead and do that. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to, suggest for the podcast, please send me an email to rachel@walkthetalkfitness.co.uk. My name is spelled Rachael because I like to be a bit different, as we know. I'll see you again next week, and take care of yourself. Have a great weekend.